Hey artists, we're going to make these awesome castles. This is a lesson by Cassie Stevens and we're going to give it a try in our classroom. Follow along with me and I'll show you how. All right, I'm ready to build my castle. We're going to choose a color paper, whatever color you're thinking, and then we're going to choose a contrasting color to print on. So I chose this kind of turquoise color and I found a nice bright orange that I think is going to show up really bright on my paper. And my only painting tool today is a little piece of cardboard. And so what I'm going to do is take this and dip it in and make sure I have some paint on the end. I'm not going to be dipping any other side, just this side. And I'm going to print at the bottom a square. So I'm going to go one line and then one on top and then on this side. And then I'm going to put another one here. And I have built the first step of my castle. So now maybe I want this to be a really tall part of my castle. So I'm just gonna build this up. And I'm making a really tall tower for my castle. And this is fun. We are just printing with the cardboard. So when we print, it's like we tap into the paint and then tap onto the paper. That's looking awesome. Now, I have a really tall tower. I can take my cardboard and go halfway like this and halfway like this, and it makes a pointed triangle on the top. Now that I have my squares and my triangle, I can make a line. And that line can hold a flag. So I want to make another triangle. Maybe this one I'll make a little skinnier. Like this. And there's the first tower of my castle. So I don't want my castle to be this skinny. I'm going to make it thicker. So I'm going to add another layer. And then I can add some line designs as I make my castle. So maybe here I'll put some different lines inside, just to make it look like there's some different designs here. And then I might make this part have a flat piece here, and then I can have like a little balcony. So you can use your imagination to think about how you want to build your castle. So I made this one a little wider, and maybe I'll put like a little fence here. And you can stand out on that balcony of the castle. Now I have a lot of room over here, and I can just keep on printing and keep on adding to my castle. And so you're just going to be taking your cardboard, dipping into your paint, and adding different layers to your castle. And maybe over here I'll have another tower. So I could add another layer and make another tower, maybe with some more flags. So I'm going to make this one taller. And we'll make another pointy tower. Maybe I'll add a flag right here. We just have so many possibilities. Ooh, I like the way that's looking. My castle is really coming along. Now I can continue adding some details inside the castle. So maybe I'll pretend like There's windows there and here. I can print a door down here. Maybe that's my door. All right. Once you're satisfied with printing your castle, you're gonna let it dry so we can add some color. Okay, now our castle is nice and dry and I can start adding some color. We're gonna use chalk and we're gonna go ahead and choose 3 colors. Now the thing is, I want some colors that are contrasting. I don't want something that's just gonna blend right into the turquoise. This color is probably not gonna show up very good on the turquoise. And I really don't think this one is going to show up super bright either because these are very similar colors. These are analogous colors, the colors next to each other on a color wheel. But if I were to use some, let's see, maybe this bright peach or like a bright pink, these will show up really well. When I put them against the turquoise, they really pop, kind of like the orange pops on the turquoise. I'm going to have us choose 3 colors of chalk and we're going to do kind of a pattern here. So I really like this peachy color. What else might I do? Maybe this yellowish green. And I think I'll do this kind of purpley pink. Those are going to be my 3 colors. And we're also going to need a Q-tip for blending. So starting at the top and going down to the bottom, we're going to start adding some color onto our castle. So I'm just going to lightly color inside and then I can take this and just kind of smooth it out a little bit. And I'm just going to do kind of a pattern with a little bit of the peach. And I'm not going to color every single square. I'm going to leave some of them the turquoise color. And so that way we have some different varieties of color. And then I can take this. I'll probably want to turn this over so I don't mix up my chalk colors. And look at the way that blends right in and looks so smooth. And then I'm going to try some of our lime green color. That looks really cool. And so you're just going to go along and add some color all over your castle with your chalk. And like I said, I'm going to leave some of these with the turquoise, some with the peach, and some with the lime green, just to add some variety to my castle. Okay, I've got my chalk in all the areas of my castle I wanted, and I left some spaces with that beautiful turquoise paper. And now we have put away the chalk and we got out our oil pastels. And we've got our oil pastels with our warm colors and our cool colors, so you can just kind of choose as we go. The other thing we want to make sure we do is get a little piece of paper to put under our hand, because if I start drawing and my hand is resting here, I'm gonna get chalk all over my hand. So I'm gonna take a little piece of paper and just set it here so as I draw, my hand sits on here instead of on the chalk. So we're gonna go in and we are going to add some different line designs. You might do polka dots. And these oil pastels are great because they color right on top of your chalk. And there's a bumpy line. Here's a dash line. So we can just go in and add some fun, different lines on our art. I'm going to do some up and down lines. And I'm just decorating my castle, making it just look a little bit different. I might put some more polka dots up here. And so we're just taking the oil pastels and adding some fun details. Okay, I put some different line designs with the oil pastels on my castle. And so we're gonna be cutting this castle out, but for the meantime, I'm gonna move it out of the way so we can get a background paper and add a little bit of decoration. I'm gonna get the chalk back out. And this is going to almost look kind of like just a fun make-believe sky. So I'm not gonna worry about putting chalk down here because I'm not gonna really see much because our castle will be glued here. But here at the top, I'm gonna take my chalk and just make some fun swirls of color with my chalk. And you can add whatever colors you want. I'm kind of making almost like cloud shapes. I'm using the side of the chalk and just making some fun poofs of color. I'm not drawing like this and putting a ton of chalk on. It's just from the side. And like I said, just some little poofs of color. And I'm gonna look through here and see if there's any other colors I want to add. And maybe a little bit of this pink. And with a tissue, I'm just going to kind of put it around my finger and just kind of rub that chalk onto the paper to make a fun swirly sky in the background. That looks really cool. Okay, this paper is ready. So I'm gonna go ahead and toss this into the trash, move the background paper out of the way, and we are gonna carefully cut out our castle. We're not going to cut right on the line. We're gonna leave a space of the turquoise. So you can see when I'm cutting, I'm leaving just a little bit of space as I go around. And when I get to the more complicated parts like here, I'm gonna go real slow. And I'm gonna leave some space. And just doing my best to carefully cut out the castle. Perfect. Some of these get kind of twisty-turny, and that's okay. We're just gonna do our best to carefully cut it out. All right, I think I've got it cut out pretty well. Got all that background out of there. And now I'm going to grab my glue stick and I'm going to turn my castle over, and I'm going to carefully put the glue stick around the edge of the castle. Right around the edge. I'm not covering the whole thing. And then just a little squiggle through the middle. And I'm going to carefully turn it over and stick it on our chalk paper. Very nice. Now, this is all chalk. If I rub this with my hand to get it to stick, my hands will be a mess. I've got it sat on here. I'm going to turn it over, and then I'm going to rub the back to make it stick. Now when I turn it over, look at that. I've got this awesome castle on our beautiful background, and I'm ready for the next step. Now we're going to take a Q-tip again, and we're gonna dip it into the white and add some little dots of white snow to the sky. And this is just really making this picture so neat. This is looking wonderful. We have a great sky, an amazing castle, and the last thing we're going to do is add a little bit of puffy paint. We're only going to use polka dots and lines. Sometimes these puffy paints come out too fast. We can use our same paper that we used for a resting space just to test to make sure it's coming out okay. And then we can make lines with our puffy paint. This is so fun because when it dries 3D. And we can also make little dots. But that's it. We're just going to do dots or lines. We're not going to go wild with the puffy paint. And then maybe I'm done with that color. I can see how this teal is working. Some of these are just not wanting to come out. So I could do some stripes with the teal, some little dots. And you're just gonna decorate a little bit more of your castle with this amazing puffy paint that's gonna give it that awesome 3D look. I'm just gonna go around and keep adding some fun details. And this is kind of the finishing touch on these amazing castles. All right, I went ahead and added some lines and dots with the puffy paint, and you can see how that added some 3D texture to this amazing castle. And it's all done. I can't wait to see the castle that you create.